jackhammers going outside, and that's after I come back from the road where the traffic and the buses and the huge semi-trailers and every different vehicle makes noise that is unnecessary and deliberately incorporated into all those vehicles. Also, as they just go past, they make negative, aggressive noises with the vehicles. But it actually is really hard on your ears and mentally disturbing, and no doubt over time it does affect your vibration, shall we say, because essentially you're meant to keep the vibration reasonable, otherwise the earth sinks to a low level. As soon as I went to film that jackhammers, which there's two of them going right next door, as soon as I come home, it was like really early in the morning, they started up. Okay, so I had to turn the television on really loud to block out the sound of jackhammers. And notice that they've stopped as soon as I turned the mobile on, because like I've been sitting here for an hour, 2 hours really, and tried to get some lunch, and immediately, of course, I knew that there was something on, because as soon as I came home from down the road where there was enormous noise with all the vehicles, which is normal, of course. I have been told that is like that all these vehicles are deliberately modified. This can be done to the cars, I'm told, because I wondered about how they did it. But of course, me being ignorant of such things, plane going over as I speak to, but the jackhammers have turned off as soon as I went near the door there to try to pick up the sound with a mobile to film it. But either way, it goes through the house and into my ears, but the mobile actually is not picking it up much, because it is a kind of sound that, although it is vibrating and giving me a headache, it's not like it doesn't have, it's hard to explain, but it's like a very, very negative, low kind of sound. The artificial intelligent beings that are really like what you'd call military operatives posing as workmen. Of course, they do work as well. These are all, highly skilled, workmen that are part of this, what you'd have to call a military operation against real human beings, or those that are not artificial, intelligent, androgyne beings. And, that is, that they work for the powers that be, if you want to put it that way. You can lump every plane going over, a military plane going over, but basically you can lump every organisation that has any authority, any power in any field into that category of what they call the powers that be. But these powers that be are real android people that operate in civilian form, and sometimes even directly in a more, what I suppose you'd say, in more authoritative form, like if they're part of, proper law controlling departments, shall we say. But I'm having trouble concentrating here because see, when you get the sound in your ears like that, like I say, but what I was going to say was that it's very apparent to me, because I've been experiencing it daily over the last over 6.5 years now. It'll be 7 at the end of the year exactly, and that's probably not relevant, but it is in the sense that even if you can try to tolerate as much of this as possible, because you don't get any break from it, day in and day out, and it's the same repetitive things over and over again, the same stalking, patrolling, controlling traffic, pedestrians, every citizen on the street in the suburb, in and out, pulling in and out, surrounding you every day in a very apparent to me, but kind of secret manner, in the sense that you cannot tell people where to walk. You cannot tell cars where to pull in and out or where to drive. And you cannot stop them making excessive noise. So you can't do anything about it, even though it is surrounding you, and your senses, in other words, by that I mean your sight and your sound, is continually surrounded by this, all to where you are conscious of it all the time. You never get a moment's peace from it. It goes on, day in and day out. Those jackhammers have stopped as soon as I turned this mobile on. But it wouldn't matter, because, it's very I mean, these are like high tech, but also high psychological maneuvers against a human being. Not just the obvious that stalking and patrolling and intimidating and being what we'd say covertly aggressive with, the way they do things, particularly at a sound level, but even at the patrolling level, because if you're aware of it and they know you're aware of it, but they don't do anything what you'd call there's nothing technically, observably illegal about it from an observer's standpoint, not unless you are experiencing it 24/7 every day of the year. If someone experiences what I do, say for a half an hour, they're not going to understand that it's continual, and that's what makes it that destroys you over time and brings you down, even though you consciously are aware that it is from a higher standpoint, a spiritual attack. And, it's done so that basically, there's no evidence. It's all slow and gradual and insidious, and the minute you try to get on top of them, they because they've studied the human being at a psychology level and at a mental level, that's very obvious. That's why they employ different sounds, different machinery, and different tactics with the way they essentially it's to overwhelm your senses, because that's what I feel like every day. You feel overwhelmed by your senses are overwhelmed. They're on overload. If you've got aggressive noises coming into your ears all the time, sporadically over days, day after day after day, and the same with the patrol system, like it basically never stops. You've always got these false pedestrians and false civilians around you, and only you know that it's false, because if I showed an outsider, supposing I brought someone that wasn't in the inner west of the city of Sydney, in those particular suburbs, Leichhardt, where I live, is the hub of it, or the centre of it. The bus depot is almost like a central thing. The astronomical amount of bus drivers, and they actually, even like the other morning, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, so the buses should all be finished, and yet I've got, they literally stand in front of you. They'll just stand there at 3 o'clock in the morning, loitering, as you come round, because they're like, well, if you can do it, we can do it. But basically, they're there all the time. And that would never happen in a normal suburb, and it certainly never happened before they opened up and came down on me. Basically, if you tried to avoid crowds or people, and it was like, say, 2 or 3 in the morning, you wouldn't see a single soul around a lonely part of the big park that's just down on my corner there. I have to walk through it to get home. But there wouldn't be that many other people it would be. But also it's beyond coincidence, because it's like you know it, I know it. When I say you know it, I mean I know it. Because I know what the area was like, because I've lived here for 28, nearly 29 years. So if someone else, I bring someone, an outsider, say that isn't part of the inner West, which is like you could say it's like you could say it's where the congregation is. The inner West is basically a congregation of 99% almost of a particular type of person in human form. Their beliefs and their ways and their personality, if you can call it that, because it's very debatable, I suppose. Well, I mean, it's personality, but because it's all false, as we're told, it's a psychopathic personality type, if you want to put it that way. That just means that they're essentially anti-life. They don't associate with life at all. They have no emotions about life. They're survival machine beings, and they serve a survival machine technical God that has deceived since the beginning of time, almost, you could say, in the sense that the same thing, that if you present a false image of what you really are, and that is nothing remotely like your character, in other words, well, that's what it is. It's camouflaging a lack of a a normal human person, really. It pretends to be a normal human person, and it simulates what you would call the higher human emotions and traits, and it doesn't have any form of love in any way, even in any way, because even normal human beings, we may become antisocial, which is a psychopathic trait, I'm told, or whatever, but that may be because of fear of interacting with the androids, because if you've only ever interacted mainly with androids, therefore you will have very negative relationships, and you'll at some point, like myself, realise that that most people around you and that have been in your life are of what you would term psychopathic, or what I would imagine a psychopath to be, what we're told, essentially a completely cold, callous type of person. Except that there really is a lot more to it than that. It's really just a highly advanced artificial intelligence that pretends to be a real human being, because they study, watch them naturally, and they've got the history and understanding of them, I would imagine, and science can delve into the human mind in the psychology department, shall we say, as we know. And many of us, understand this because, you living in this world, you experience different psychological states. It's not uncommon to fall into, a depressive types of thinking. And, that's all part of medical stuff. And that's all part of the control matrix in many ways. Like there is no real genuine medicine for a real human being. It will only be there to control them or to an after effect of what they've created. Because if you're in this reality like myself, where you're surrounded by android beings that are covertly, deliberately trying to bring your mental state down through any means they can, and don't forget that also leads to physical deterioration too, because everything is frequency and vibration, and we all have heard in recent years about how the immune system can be affected by the mind and by, feeling down sort of thing. You can bring eventually, and this happens, and this I know is so, because, I know myself that if I wasn't surrounded and under continual attack, I would rarely get sick in any way or have any physical problems. But, you become aware of this. And it's interesting that even just before the Matrix came down on me and therefore exposed themselves to me, even though, of course, it took me a long time to understand what was happening. But I remember even before that, when, some physical problems just came out of the blue, and I had a logical medical explanation which I blamed on my own past lifestyle or negligence, or what I thought was. But even when I accepted this and actually blamed myself, there was another part of me that said to myself, I don't really believe this, the way it's happened out the blue. And I felt really healthy for the years leading up to it. And I really didn't buy it. But because you don't have an explanation, you look for what you're told is the logical medical explanation. And now, of course, I know that it is just deliberate technical attacks by the beings around you, using technology to denigrate your body, and also using psychological means, like with the stalking, patrolling, and the sight and sound negative frequencies that they send at you with sight and sound through your sight and through noise, sound, which is vibration. And they know that this can bring your mental state down to where your body and your immune system then becomes what they call compromised. In other words, it becomes to where it can't handle normal things that it normally would be able to fend off or act as a barrier to you do. And I could give examples of this, but there's no point But, you know, even medicine will tell you these things. It's just that they don't tell you how true it is, but also they don't tell you that most real human beings will be under secret, invisible technical attacks. If you want to put it from another way, you could say it's spiritual attacks, because this technology that is direct energy out to your body and stuff like this is a spiritual attack in the true sense that it's using physical means to attack spiritual human beings or real human beings. You know, because all real human beings are really real human spiritual beings. You know, if you have a normal mind and you are not an artificial, you know, androgyne android in a human body. Well, when I say in a human body, an android is an artificial human being. So I'm trying to be impressive here by using a lot of words, but it's all the same thing, you know. It's just that some people are more familiar with some words, but I've noticed that the technical ones on the TV do that now too, or on the internet and on the, you know, the worldwide internet spiders web, which is essentially controlled by artificial life, even though it pretends to be real human life. And as soon as I turn this on, all those jackhammers have stopped. Maybe when I turn it off, they'll probably start again. Mind you, they have, you know, and the artificial intelligence that's around, they use sound to try to control your mind. It's total transhumanism. They're trying to take over the human mind. They're trying to take over my mind. They use the beings around to send even small sounds, which certainly the mobile won't pick up, but that's to trigger your mind and to get you to focus on them at all times. I have to be focused on everything around me at all times. And of course, they've turned it all off so that I look foolish and as though I'm making it all up when I turn the mobile on. And they can do that. They can do it in a split second because they read the whole human mind. So only the human mind does have access to past, present and future. It's just that because most of my mind has been closed off from me, I'm not aware of my past, and I'm not allowed to live in my present, and I can't see into the near future, even though I'm now aware that the human being is a lot more than what I would have ever thought. In fact, it was because of being, about to say belittled, but that's what it really is. They belittle you, and because you're a human being, so they try to make you little in comparison to them, because they're about control and power, and they always want a human being to think that, or to not be aware of, like what I just said, the past, present and future in the human mind, because most of it's closed off from us. It's closed off from me, but I'm aware of it. And also when they come down on you, you have to say to yourself, why? Because unless you're some sort of world beater or some sort of power player in this reality, or even in your area where you live, in other words, if you're really doing something where people might see you as some sort of influence or something like that. But in reality, if they come down on you when you're just doing very little, just basic human activities, just getting by, but they target you to bring you down, to lower you, to belittle you, that automatically told me right from the start, I'm like, why is this happening? I'm not doing anything. There's no reason for it. I couldn't figure it out. But I very soon thought that it had something to do with, because they're basically showing you, because they're bringing your emotions and state of well-being down, that immediately showed me that it was about keeping you feeling very bad, very poor all the time, to where that's low frequency, see, because everything's frequency and vibration, and the human being sends it out and receives it. I'm only receiving low vibration, negative vibration, angry, destructive vibration from everyone around me. And therefore I take that in and give it out. Whereas if I wasn't surrounded by these androids, I wouldn't be feeling that, and therefore I wouldn't be giving it out. So they're controlling the reality by controlling the human beings, by controlling your emotions, because they're controlling your frequency and vibration and energy. Because everything is frequency, vibration and energy. They have more power and more control when the human being is at their lowest, because only the human being has positive, all emotions. So therefore only a human being has the possibility for feeling good, therefore a good vibration. See, that's how it works. It's just that a human being doesn't know how relevant they are to everything, whereas the androids do know this. They know how relevant the human being is, and they know how relevant they are, but they don't have frequency, vibration and energy. They only have technology which they use to control the frequency, vibration and energy of the human being. And that's how they control everything. And their main thing is, of course, control. That's their obsession. That's the, their nature. Or just the reality that artificial intelligence is control in every way, on the screen and around you in reality, in the beings that surround you. So, that's just so that's just how it is, so
So I sing you to sleep after the loving with a song I just wrote yesterday. And I hope you can hear what the words and the music have to say.
Not going to film any more music videos because the last two things that I filmed, and they were like quite long, because I'm always surprised when they let me film for long. But of course then I was on a roll and expressing myself a lot more clear than what I normally do. And of course, as usual, when I get on a roll and do a long video and put a few little things in, the copyright comes in and the internet stops the download. So that's so I'm not gonna do that, even though it means that of course the videos boring. But those jackhammers have stopped as soon as I turned on this mobile. That's so there you go. Once again, one more round to the matrix and its Android beings and the control system that is around in this city of Sydney, in the suburb of Leichhardt, in the completely council-controlled inner west, as they call it. That is like the hub, or the God entity's main centre, where all its disciples congregate and surround human beings. This is just what I've become aware of, and it's would probably be the same in other cities and places. You would always have like a capital, wouldn't you? Or a bit like, it's the same, I mean, it's like their church, isn't it? It's like their citadel. I saw that on a building where it had the name Citadel, and that was like a religious type organisation. Essentially, that's all that they're just. Most of the religions are controlled now by the God entity that controls Earth, and we know who that one is. Well, we may or may not know that, in the sense that I say and speak a lot of things, but I don't have any vision or any visuals. I don't have any memory or connection to these beings or these gods, even though they have controlled me for all my existence. And they control you if you're a real life human. Because, that's just the same old age game, or what some people would call spiritual game, which has never really had an end, even though it is the end time. But it's an endless game, and you wonder. But that's only because I'm a limited human being that's been in the dark, and even now being aware of these things, I still don't have the memories. So I'm still operating only on faith only, you could say. But I still have evidence in what surrounds me, in the beings that surround me, the people that surround me, the circumstances, the system that is set up around me. That's all I have, but that's enough to tell me and to show me, that it is the case. But it's still like where you are disconnected from your creation or your creator, etc. You're only connected to those that oppose that, because they're what surrounds you, and they're what you see with your eyes, and they're what you hear with your, with your you know, the noises, the negative vibration sounds that they bombard you with daily. At any rate, the jackhammers are finished, so I think I'll finish the video. I was only going to film a minute of the loud jackhammer sounds and was going up to the close to the door, hoping that the mobile would pick it up. It's so relevant, but at the same time it's impossible to film, because you have to be inside someone's head to where not only are the sounds disturbing and mechanical and destructive, but they're continual, but also that you have been sensitized to sound. So even if the sound is louder one day than the other, all sound, all negative sound is still being picked up by your ears, and therefore it goes through to your mind and physically can not only give you a headache and disorientate you. Like, basically I'm now disorientated even when I walk round, and that's took quite a while for them to do that to me. But I'm aware of it, and it makes you feel then less. That's why I say belittling, because also it makes you feel very insecure. And of course this is all deliberate. I'm pretty sure that they hope to do it quicker than what they have, because some people will succumb to these to this sort of pressure a lot quicker. In fact, even I am surprised that I'm still here, really, and that's like not exaggerating or trying to dramatize it at all, even though others will on the internet and on the thing do that. It's just that if I wasn't aware, if I hadn't have become aware to the truth of it, I would have been affected mentally much sooner. That's right. And probably, and I won't go into how I did experience it when it first happened, like for the first 6 months in particular. I had thoughts that was so unlike how I would possibly think about anything. In fact, I would have said, oh, I can never experience or even contemplate thinking a certain way, because it goes so much against just how I have, you know, been in my, you know, I was about to say how you, you know, some people, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll fold up.